Hey ladies, we're talking everything alcohol today. So sorry for the weird view. I am sitting on the floor with Diego in my lap. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Sorry, I'm not wearing green. Yes, I'm Irish, but well, I threw on a shirt and the fact that I have pants on today is a solid win considering I have a puppy. But we're talking about alcohol today. I want to talk to you guys about not only just how to track it. Hey Sinead, how to track it, but also how to set up your environment so you stop drinking more than you actually intended to, because we've all fallen down that rabbit hole. Hello. So yeah, this is just fun. So enjoy the Diego celebrity appearances. Oh good, we're just gonna show him my shirt. So this is gonna be an interesting live because I'm gonna have to do some random things for him. There we go. All right, so let's chew on your toy. So the first thing I wanna do is talk about how to actually, hey girl, how to actually count alcohol properly as far as a macro goes. So in regards to wine, spritzers, beer, seltzers, champagne, whatever, it's all the same. So you want to log it the same way, just so you're not thinking wine is one thing, vodka's a different thing, tequila's a different thing, beer's a different thing. It's all the same concept. Morning, Crystal. So the more you can just make alcohol one blanket thing in your brain, the easier it is to keep track of it. So when I say keep track of alcohol, we are technically bending rules. Alcohol is under a different regulatory system than the FDA. So it is not considered technically something like a food. It is void of nutrients. You are not going to drink alcohol and get your protein, that type of thing. So since it is not technically a food, they don't technically have the same requirements as the FDA. And yes, I'm pointing now with a dog toy. So alcohol is technically 7 calories per gram. Whereas if we look at our macronutrients, both protein and carbohydrates are 4 calories per gram. Fat being the most dense is 9 calories per gram. So alcohol is not technically a protein, fat, or a carb. But honestly, if you look at anyone's diet, 99.9% of people, minus the keto crazies, most of your food is coming from a carbohydrate source, especially when you're eating at maintenance or you have a higher day. So it just makes the most sense to pull alcohol from your carbohydrate. Also, because it is the only non-essential macronutrient. You have to eat protein to survive because you need essential amino acids in there. Not necessarily animal protein, but you need to make sure you're getting all the necessary amino acids. You find that in your protein sources. I think he calmed down. Look at it. He's so cute. Anywho, but then you also need fat. Fat is also an essential macronutrient. If you stop eating fat, you die. Fat is literally what makes up the phospholipid bilayer of every one of our cells. That's fat. So it just makes sense to pull it from carbohydrate because you mainly have more carbohydrates in your diet than anything else, usually. And also, you don't really need it to survive. So we kind of just lump carbs with alcohol. We kind of lump them together. So even if you're logging properly and you're counting it as a carbohydrate, you are counting it as 4 calories per gram. Alcohol is technically 7 calories per gram, but the math is insane. And at the end of the day, it's just about finding a way to keep things as simple as possible, keep you honest, and just keeping an eye on things, basically. So to count alcohol as a carb, which really is the standard way across the industry. Like, know your Michelob Ultra, that's what, like 100 or like 95 calories is not 2 grams of carb. That's how they market it because there's loopholes. They're just finding loopholes. That's a bitch. But basically, if they say it's 95 calories and only 2 grams of carb, what are the other calories coming from? The calories are something. They are energy. Your body is going to register those as calories, so you should count them as something. We're going to count them as a carb. So even though we're counting them as a carb, and that's only 4 calories per gram, and alcohol is 7, it's close enough. You just have to be like, all right, we're just going to count it as something, and it's so much easier to do as a carb. That's where I'm going to hang out with this. We can do fat. You can split it, all the things, but let's just keep things simple. Let's go alcohol, carbs. So all you need to do is take whatever the calorie amount is in the drink you are enjoying, divide it by 4. That's your carbs, period, the end. That's all you need to do. So it's not Googling and trying to find the exact, or like asking your coach or whatever, like what's in this beer or what's in this beer. Like literally Google it. Calories in blank, for example. I have some examples that you have to reach them without waking Diego up. Whoops. So same amount of beer, just got this out of my fridge. So you Google, how many calories in a bottle of Sam Adams? Google will tell you 175 calories. So if I want my Sam Adams beer, I'm going to say, all right, 175 calories. I'm going to divide that by 4 and log that as it's what, like 53, I think, grams of carb in one of these. Ta-da! Google is your best friend. Don't be afraid to use it. So that is how all alcohol goes. And like, if you can't be scanning barcodes on bottles of wine, bottles of beer, seltzers, things like that, because they just don't work in MyFitnessPal. It's going to default to like no carbs or whatever. So make your own. Go into your MyFitnessPal or whatever app you're using and make your own food. Create a food, call it alcohol, call it wine. I have like a wine, a beer, a vodka one just because, I don't know, I think I did it a long time ago and just left it alone. Hey, Maddie. And so log your own food. So like, let's say, for example, I was going to do beer or whatever. And I would put Sam Adams beer, 175 calories for, I think it's what, 12 ounces or something. And then put in the carbs, I think it's like 53, and save that. So let's say, for example, I was going out and I wanted an IPA and we were at a bar and I was like, you know what? All these are local beers. I have no idea. I'm just going to Google something close, like average calories in an IPA, whatever. And then I'm going to figure out what I ordered. I always ask for half pints when I'm out. Just because they say, here's a pint, you can say, can I get something smaller? Most of them have a half pint. It's just not on the menu. I would rather have a couple half pints because it stays cold because I drink it slow. So then you're like, all right, well, I'm going to Google that. And like, let's say that IPA, those are usually a little bit more dense, is like 220 calories per like serving or whatever you're getting. Then you take that, you divide it by 4, and then just use the beer one you already made and then just make the calories match and the math's already done for you. So that's how you would do a beer. Same thing with, so I have a couple different seltzers here. So just trying to reach. So this is one of my favorite things. It's called Ranch Water. It's a spicy hard seltzer. This is, if I look at the label, we have 80 calories. I trust them. We'll go with 80 calories. Also only has 3 grams of carbohydrates. So I don't know where all the other calories are coming from. Weird. So 80 calories. There's a seltzer. Clearly have a drinking problem, apparently. Here's a Corona seltzer. These are nasty. Not a fan. I literally bought these last summer, and I've just been pawning them off on people. I'm like, do you want one? They're great. They're not good. I don't like them. This is 90 calories. No carbs. Lies. 90 calories. This, my friend gave me a lemon agave hibiscus wild basin boozy sparkling water. 100 calories. So out of those 3, we have an 80, a 90, 100 calories. Close enough. 80 divided by 4, 20. Each of those ranch waters, 20 grams of I think. Yeah, wow, that was going to be embarrassing if I got that math wrong. So 80 calories, 4 grams of carbohydrates per one of those. So that ranch water, 20 grams of carbs per can. Then the Corona seltzer, that was what, 90? So add what, like 2? So it's like 22.5 calories per gram, carbohydrates per can. The Wild Basin, 100 calories divided by 4, 25 grams of carbs per can. That's how you figure it out. Let's talk wine. So sorry, my hair is I'm looking so good today. Nita, if you're making your own entry, why wouldn't we do 7 since that's what alcohol is? Because honestly, it just throws off the numbers so much. And at the end of the day, it's about having a lifestyle instead of being super neurotic about the actual little details. Because honestly, especially if you're at a restaurant and you order a glass of wine, the standard pour is 5 ounces. They might give you 5.5. They might give you 4.6. It's just getting close enough. Just keeping an eye on things is much, much better to actually make the math work than trying to do 7 because honestly, your head will explode because it never really adds up. But let's talk wine for a second. So I have right here a little baby bottle, this little thing. These 19 crimes are legit. So glad that made sense, Anita. I'm glad you asked. Great question. So this little baby bottle right here, I love these because it helps with portion control. So this doesn't tell you the ounces. So again, this is where you need to become self-sufficient. No one's going to tell you all this shit. So I'm like, all right, you look at this. What do we got here? Well, I find the amount we are looking at 187 milliliters. No one here in the US works in milliliters. So you go to Google. How many ounces in 187 milliliters? 6.3. Great. So now I have 6.3 ounces of wine. So if a 5-ounce glass of wine is a standard pour, it's going to run you about 120 calories. Again, you can find that on Google. This is more than that. So this is going to be more than a standard pour. So a standard pour of wine being 5 ounces at 120 calories, what we're looking at about like close to 30-ish grams of carbs per one standard glass of wine. This is 6.3 ounces per one of these little bottles. So that's going to run you just north of 150 calories. So this is about 38 grams of carbohydrates in here, I think. I might have done that math wrong. Sorry. Little lack of sleep, but you take the 150 divided by 4. That's what's in here. So that is how you figure out all the math. So I literally, in my phone, I have wine saved. I have vodka saved. Let's talk, there's a regular, like my go-to at a bar. If I'm wanting a couple cocktails with my girls, I get that. Go for a 0-calorie mixer, because that way you don't have to try and factor in all of those calories too, which is just a waste. So I love me a vodka soda with a lime, or I've been known, I'm a whiskey, I get my diet and my Maker's Mark, all the things. But basically one shot of a spritzer is gonna run you roughly 75 calories, right around there. So also, if they're making your drinks and they make it a double, you have to count both shots. That's an ounce. Just throwing that out there. So then you just take your 75, you divide it by 4. What are we looking at, like 17-ish? Something like that. Right on like 17.5, so round up 18 if you want to round up. So then for every vodka soda, I'm logging about 18 grams of carbohydrate. Always make sure it's a single. I have my 0-calorie mixer, and I'll have a few of those in the evening. If I do a rum and diet, or I don't drink rum. What am I, in college? Heavens. But like a whiskey, if I do like a tequila drink or something, and there's only one shot in it, I log all spritzers or like all liquors the same. But so we've covered beer, we've covered wine, we've covered seltzers, we've covered liquor. That's how it goes. It's easy to figure out the math and do the calories if you actually have if it's just like you got a can of something, or it's like a vodka soda. When you order a margarita off of a restaurant menu, there is almost 0 chance you're gonna be able to know what calories are in there. So if they're listed, that's usually horrifying. You're like, 420 calories for the margarita. I'll take 2. They sound delicious. We all do that. Shit happens. So you're going to drive yourself crazy or starve yourself if you're trying to make those types of drinks fit your macros. Sometimes you just have to say, I'm going to be mindful, listen to my hunger cues, and I'm having some margaritas tonight. That's going to happen, and that's totally okay. By the way, this little nugget is sleeping. Oops. Can you see him? He's so cute. Sleepy puppy. So glad he's letting me do this live. Sorry, I know I'm looking so fabulous today. It's probably distracting you how pretty I look. It feels great. Anywho, so when you're logging alcohol, stick to the basics. If you're really trying to log and track and everything, don't get the drink that you can't count. Don't drink the super flipsy Cosmo dipsy doodle lemon twist Cosmo. Who knows how many calories are in that with like the mixers and stuff. So all you have to do is keep it simple to make your life way easier. So that is how you actually track alcohol. Now, the part that really screws up, okay, what alcohol do you find is easier to recover from? I find the healthier I get, the more brutal the hangovers, and I only have a couple beers. Fair question. That's individual. Some people cannot handle tequila. Some people cannot handle vodka. Some people cannot do well after beer. I don't know. That's super individual. That's a great question, but I just don't have an answer for you because there's no healthier alcohol. Go for wine, go for whatever. Had a dream, drank margarita, and worried about tracking. You knew this was coming. But yeah, there's going to be no healthier alcohol. If you're going to drink, know it's giving you no nutritional value, so you're probably drinking because you enjoy the taste or for the social aspect. So choose something that you're going to enjoy for the taste or help you enjoy the social aspect and move on. If you feel like complete death the next day, try something different the next time. If you feel like complete death the next day, try something different the next time. And if you feel like death after all of them, you just have bad hangovers. Maybe one's going to hit you harder than others. I used to have a coworker who could not do whiskey because it made her really sad. Everything else, she was fine. She doesn't do whiskey because it just made her sad. That's something you got to figure out on your own. But let's go into actual portion control. So that's what gets people into trouble. More so wine than anything else because you open the bottle, or going to a party and just kind of grabbing stuff out of the fridge. That's when you kind of get into trouble. It's really easy to manage at a restaurant if you're going to have I'm going to have a glass of wine with dinner. You actually have to ask them to bring it to you. That makes it very easy to stick with portion control. The issue is when you go for the bottle, things like that. So sometimes if you're celebrating a special occasion, a birthday, and you're out at a restaurant and you want a bottle of wine, great. Why are you tracking on your birthday anyway? But if you're at home and you just want a glass of wine after a work evening, or maybe Sinead on a Sunday night, or maybe it was a hell of a week and you really just want a nice glass of wine on a Friday, and you really just want one. You really just want to stick with one because you're trying so hard to be good, and you open the bottle. And then you're like, well, the bottle's open. I don't want the whole thing to go bad. So my husband doesn't, he's not drinking wine tonight. I'll take care of it. Or you maybe have two. And then the next day, even if you weren't planning on it or factored it in, you're like, this is going to go bad really soon. So I'm going to have the rest of the bottle, which is another about 2.5 glasses or so. So you shoot yourself in the foot if you open a bottle of wine with no one to help you. If you're going to open a bottle, you should know how many glasses you're going to have, maybe factor in 2, because let's get serious, who can open a full bottle and just have 1? If you're not sharing it with a lot of other people. So if my husband is going to have maybe a glass or 2 of wine and I'm going to have a glass or 2, we'll open a bottle. If he's making a drink and maybe he's making his own margarita, maybe he's making old fashioned, and I really want a glass of wine, I open this. It comes in a pack of 4. No, they are not near as bad as you think, you little wine snots. And enjoy my glass of red wine, and I don't feel obligated to drink anything else because I literally would have to screw off the top, bust the seal, and open the others. Impose portion control when you can't. Make your life easy. Though I've done a live on this. It's on Instagram. Let me know if you guys ever need me to tag you in it. Successful people are known as having more self-control than non-successful people in just whatever field you're talking about. Inherently untrue. Successful people do not have more self-control. What they do have is the ability to recognize we only have limited self-control, so you set up your environment to make sure you don't have to exhibit self-control all the time. So if I always open a full bottle of wine and expect myself to drink just 1 glass after I had a really stressful workday, my self-control is gone after the workday because I was polite with my emails and used terms like circle back and I understand what you're saying. Let's revisit this. When you really just want to say, I'm going to fucking kill you, that's self-control. So that way, when you open the bottle of wine later, you have no self-control left. It happens. So choose something where you don't have to exhibit any self-control. That is what successful people do. They make sure they are not surrounding themselves and putting them in an environment where they're tempted to do things that they don't really want to do all the time. So be smart about what you're doing. So at home, think things like this, or I love these spicy ranch waters. I mean, 80 calories and it has a little heat. I like these a lot. They're spicy. They don't take very long to, like they take me a while to drink because there's a little bit of heat to them. 80 calories, I have to open the can, 1 can. Then I have to be premeditated to go get another can if I want another drink instead of just opening something that is absolutely massive. So when it comes to, something is going on with my computer. I'm sorry, okay, I'm just going to show you the setup I have here. I literally have my laptop and like beverages just lined up. So my life currently. Anywho, the other part of self-control is parties, cookouts. Like when you're by a pool, everything, there's just stuff in the cooler, you're just grabbing, you're drinking, it's social, and you're like, oh my God, I had 6 seltzers when I was there. I don't feel good. We've all been there. So the best thing that you can do is 1, always pre-log your alcohol. Like if I'm going to a pool party and I'm like, you know what, I'm really trying to be good. I don't want to drink my face off and I also don't want to feel like complete shit tomorrow. I got things I got to do. Maybe I have a puppy to take care of. I want 3. I'm gonna feel comfortable having 3. I'll enjoy myself, but I'm not gonna regret it. I will bring 3. Bring your own shit. Do not get to a party expecting there to be seltzers and you're just gonna have 3. Then you get there, there's literally no seltzers or some other bitch drank all of them already and she's wasted. And so there's literally only heavy beers for you to choose from. And that's not what you wanted. You did not factor that in and then you are pissed. So you go into bucket mode, you eat everything, you drink, and you're just mad because they didn't have the seltzers you wanted. That is your fault. You need to take control over things you're trying to control. Your nutrition, your alcohol choices, your hydration, your food is no one's responsibility and no one's priority other than you. So if you have certain things you're wanting to eat at a cookout, if you don't know if it's going to be there, bring it. Hey, what can I bring? I'm gonna grab a veggie tray. I mean, you probably have some burgers, some hot dogs. Great. I'm gonna grab some chicken. We can throw that on the grill. Just bring what you want to have there instead of thinking they're probably gonna have something that works and then when they don't, getting really pissed at them. Not their fault. Your fault. Own it. So then, okay, I want to drink my seltzers. So I'm going to bring the exact number of seltzers that I want to drink. Or if you know a girl's going to be there and you and her love the same seltzers and you drank hers last time, so she's going to drink yours this time, bring enough for both of you. But say, hey, These 3, mine. You can have the rest. That's okay to say things like that. Don't bring 18 and say I'm going to just drink 3 if you're there for like 6 hours. Be realistic. Try and control your environment. Seltzer, then have a water. Seltzer, then have a water. Fun fact, if you just don't want to answer the question of why aren't you drinking more, if you literally put soda water in a glass with a lime in it, no one knows you're not drinking vodka sodas. That is your choice. If you want to drink, go for it. If you don't want to drink, don't. But if you are on a diet, those are empty calories. Do not complain that you are hungry, then drink your face off because you made the choice to drink them instead of eat them. They're void of nutrients, so alcohol and weight loss are not best friends, but lifestyle in weight loss is essential. So if alcohol, I'm doing a lot of this, I'm sorry, I get really worked up sometimes, but you need to be realistic. If you need to have some alcohol in your life for your social life, for your enjoyment, you just genuinely enjoy it, great, totally fine. Just be smart about it. Sometimes you might not be able to drink as much as you want if you're trying to pursue physique goals, but it doesn't mean you have to completely omit it. Just be smart about it. And use portion control built in. Buy smaller portion sizes of things every time you can if you don't have someone to share it with you and that is going to do their part. Only bring what you're going to drink to a party. Stop surrounding yourself in an environment where it's just, there's 800 to choose from. I'm going to have this one, 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 and then wonder why you keep breaking, why you keep veering from your goals. There is nothing wrong with you, but we only have so much self-control. And we all know a drink or 2 in, you have less self-control because you're like, it's okay, you're feeling good. So go in with a plan and tell someone your plan. That's fine. I'll go to a party with Josh and I'm like, listen, 3. He also knows he doesn't want to deal with me after I've had more than that because I can get annoying. I know that. It's fine. He's just like, yeah, you get 3. I don't feel like dealing with your ass today. I'm like, okay, totally fine. So tell someone, hey, I really just want 3. Or like if you're going over to a friend's and it's like a happy hour and bring in some wine, it's going to be a wine night and you really just want 2 glasses, bring a bottle so you're going to share it. I'm like, hey girl, I really just want 2. Like I'm working so hard. You got to hold me to it. All right, thanks. That's okay to do. You don't have to keep everything you're doing a secret. You don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but don't put yourself in an environment where, yeah, I do know people beg, but that's their own fucking problem. They're being babies. They cannot handle the fact that you are not drinking and they are. It's just making them insecure that they feel like they have to drink and you're allowed to say no. You're just exhibiting more self-control and it's totally fine. They're gonna beg. Laugh at it. Joke that like, oh, I know I'm such a party pooper. Oh my gosh, I know you can't enjoy a drink without me because I'm just the best. Hilarious, but no, I'm good. That's fine. Acknowledge it for what it is and move on. If they're begging, that is not doing anything positive for you. Be like, girl, you've got to stop. Come on. Like, just be real with it. It's just part of a social situation, and you have to get comfortable handling it. You have to get comfortable saying no when you actually want to say no, instead of just doing what everyone else says, especially when it's doing something you don't want to do. What are we in high school? Like, come on, skip class. I'd say, fuck you, I'm going to class. I like to learn. I was also a nerd. It's fine. But just put yourself in an environment where you're not tempted all the time, and tell people what you're doing. If they're beggars, like, listen, I appreciate it, and you know I love you, you know I can hang, but right now I am trying so hard. So just please let me just stick with 2. That'd be great. Thank you. Move on. Don't make a big deal about it. And it's like maybe like training a puppy. The more they beg, if you can't handle peer pressure, then that's a little out of my scope. I'm not a mental health professional. You know this. At almost 40, maybe it's time to start exhibiting it. Start with small things. So maybe if you're going to go out and split a bottle of wine, okay, be open to split a bottle of wine. When they say, do you want to split a second? That's when you get to say no. That's when you say, no, I'm good. Just order yourself an individual glass. You got to start sometime. I can't fix all those problems for you, and I can't fix your friends. Unless they want to work with me, then I'll yell at them too. Not a problem. But it's just about creating an environment that you can succeed in, being comfortable saying no, and then when you choose to drink, logging it appropriately. I'm not saying you need to log everything you put in your mouth or everything you drink forever and ever, amen. That is not what this is about. But if you have physique goals and you're tracking things, just because you don't track it doesn't mean it doesn't count. And you can literally drink back on all the weight you lost during a week by being stupid. You really can. I know peer pressure. I know social. My brother is the grill master. Him and my sister-in-law, like, they're the best parties. And they just know that I don't drink as much as they do, and it's fine. It's because I've said no enough times where it's not weird, it's not awkward. They're not going to force it upon me. They still get all like, lame. I'm like, bye, that's fine. So then the next day when they're hungover as shit, I'm like, hey, how's it going? Not every time. I overdrink. I get hungover. I don't track everything, but you have to be willing to say no more times than you're used to if you want to get somewhere, if drinking is a big part of your life. But to kind of summarize, and if you guys have any specific questions, start dropping them in, is 4 calories per gram to log it as a carb. You're inherently underlogging, but it's just a way to keep the math even. Otherwise, your head is going to explode. All alcohol, 4 calories per gram. Get a few logged in your MyFitnessPal, a beer, a vodka, and a seltzer, wine, whatever, just to make it easy to log and you're not trying to scan labels. And then just be smart about how much self-control you really have to exhibit, because you will break, because you are human. We all break. So that is all I had for you guys on the St. Patrick's Day is drink smartly. It doesn't mean you have to not do it at all, but you got to be smart about things. Don't kill the messenger. Just saying, but it is what it is. So hopefully you guys had a wonderful time listening. Thank you for dealing with me and Diego and sitting in this really weird place. He's now, look at him. He's sleeping. I don't know if you can see his face, but he's adorable. But Grandma and Grandpa are going to come pick him up soon, and I'm going to get to work. So thank you guys for watching. My pleasure, Crystal. If you guys have any questions after the fact, just drop them in the comments or go ahead and reach out to me. You know, I'll answer everything. But hopefully you're having a great day, and I'm going to go put all these drinks back in my fridge. See you later. Where's the button? There it is.